In the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, a thousand.
This is Nalini Lasiewicz. I'm here in Los Angeles, and we're thrilled to celebrate this incredible annual occasion of drawing attention to women's issues, our needs, gender equality in all kinds of forms. I think everyone here tonight has a very special connection with those principles, and we're delighted to share this with you. I also was lucky enough to go to The Hague a few years ago when Women International League of Peace and Freedom held their centennial meeting in The Hague, which by coincidence is the city I was born in. So it was a really special event. But the thing that stuck out for me was that this organization, 100 years old, was the women of the world who came together to try to stop World War I. And it was a harrowing enterprise, traveling behind, war zone situations, going to meet prime ministers and presidents and just pleading, isn't there some nonviolent way to settle these disputes? Going back to that conference I attended in The Hague, I gave a copy of this song to one of the organizers, and they started playing it during the dinner breaks and the reception breaks. So it was very exciting to have that happen. This is called Women for Peace. You're standing in the kitchen. It's the only warm room. You're getting ready to go out, though a part of you doesn't want to. You remember your childhood, when the whole damn world was at war. Now it's happening all over. How could anyone take any more? So you put your black coat on, take the signs you've drawn, join the ladies downtown, becoming women for peace down in the streets, yeah. Women for peace, ooh, down on the streets. You've given more than you bargained. How many years did you cry? Now you march in their memory, telling anyone who passes by. Some will curse you with glances. In a mob, you only feel fear. Then you hear someone whisper, I'm so grateful you're always here. Pick a day to start. Speak out from your heart. You're no longer alone. Becoming women for peace down on the streets, yeah.
I've lived for a while in Ukraine. It's very important to my heart. So I'm very thankful to Nalini for inviting me to play the national anthem. I'll do that right now.
When I met my good friend Caroline a few years ago, we figured out that our mothers grew up maybe 5 or 10 kilometers away from each other in southwest Germany in the 1930s. And my mother left as a 12-year-old and traveled alone to the United States, to the West Coast. Caroline's mother stayed in Germany. She had a little Jewish friend, and that's part of the song too. So this is a song for our mothers. The first verse is my mother's voice. The second verse is Caroline's mother's voice. And the third verse is both mothers. It was in the 1930s. My mother was 12, and Caroline's mother, in 1940, my mother was 12. Caroline's mother was 11, I think, and her story dates to 1938. All right. Let's see. It's got stitches. When I was 12, just a kind, Mother took me to Berlin. She'd sewn a gold star to my coat. I'd travel east by train and boat. Her eyes compelled me to have faith on my journey to the Golden Gate. And when I reached up to hold her, she said, "Mein Liebling, there'll be an angel at your shoulder." When I was 9, just a kind, Rebecca Steinberg was my friend. I taught her how to knit and purl. She showed me how to waltz and twirl. Then she vanished overnight. They'd felt the winds and taken flight. I often thought of her as I grew older and hoped there was an angel at her shoulder. When there's a wound where there's a rend, we make stitches, stitch and mend. Stitches made in blues and greens, wines and pinks and tourmalines. fuchsia floss, white calico, make flowers reaching through the snow. Dark grays make a stormy shroud. Yellow rays burst through the cloud. We've passed on to the other side. We see our daughters' stars collide, lighting up a darkened sky, a sparkly blanket in the night. They chase their dreams, they sing their songs, find their loves, find where they belong. And should their world grow colder, each has an angel at her shoulder. When there's a wound, where there's a rent, we make stitches, stitch and mend. Arabesques and serpentines, binding with their loops and vines. Golden cord and copper wire make a phoenix rising from the fire. And silver threads and cotton strings make a pair of angel wings.
Good Bones, and it's by Maggie Smith, the poet, not the actress, which is what I thought at first. Life is short, though I keep this from my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine in 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. 1,000 deliciously ill-advised ways I'll keep from my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's a conservative estimate, though I keep this from my children. For every bird, there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short and the world is at least half terrible, and for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you, though I keep this from my children. I'm trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor walking you through a real shithole chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful.
In the song I'm going to play for you, actually I wrote it sort of during the pandemic. I did write it during the pandemic, and you know, we definitely live in a country divided right now, and that's why I wrote this song, and it's called Next to You. Slide down the drain with me, sick of the rain, wanna feel sunshine on my feet. Dive deep down, straight to the bottom, where you can't hear a sound and maybe get some peace. Break these chains, they're weak and old. Run like hell till we get to the top of the hill. There may be trouble on the way, but I can save you when you can save me. Okay, everybody, find the one and love the one. Keep safe the one that's standing next to you. Everybody find the one and love the one. Keep safe the one that's standing next to you. Find the one and love the one. Keep safe the one that's standing next to you. Dancing in the den with the radio low, singing to each other, laughing, joking, and fooling around. We can find a way, my baby, if I love you and you love me. Come on, everybody, find the one and love.
So nice, Matthew.
Thanks, guys. Happy National Women's Day, right? Yes?
International Women's Day. You got March
International.
8th every year.
Nice. I'll have to celebrate my girlfriend when she gets home.
Yeah, a lot of countries, the children come home with flowers for their moms, and you're so special, Mom. But it is more political in a lot of ways. So start.
This is an adaptation of the Mother's Day Proclamation after the Civil War, and I've incorporated into my anti-war play Liz's Stratagem after Aristophanes' play Lysistrata. Then women arise and be firmly resolved. We won't submit to declarations of war made by corrupt politicians. We won't let our warriors train our sons to torture and kill other humans. Disarm. Bombs, missiles, chemicals, and bombs. Disarm, disarm. Let's demilitarize our countries and homes. As our men have forsaken us for war, women, now is our time to lead. In the name of humanity, may we uphold the sacred bonds of peace, the sacred bonds of peace, the sacred bonds of peace.
What will you do? Say it's all up to you. Say the whole world in your hands. Would there be change, or would things be the same? Have we already done all we can? Have we already done all we can? Would your world be about power and greed? And would the choices you make lose our souls? Or would you stand for every woman, every man, and see every heart broken made whole? See every heart broken made whole. What would you do? Say it's all up to you. Say the whole world in your hands. Would there be change, or would things be the same? Have we already done all we can? Have we already done all we can? Well, all of our lives we've been told paradise resides in the heavens above. What would you do if you suddenly knew it was here with the people you love? Right here with the people you love. Would you wage war? Would you breed hate more? Would you use terror to rule? Or would the waters run sweet and the land at our feet be peaceful and green, clean and pure? So peaceful, so green, so pure, so peaceful, so green, so pure. What would you do? Say it's all up to you. Say the whole world's in your hands. Would there be change, or would things be the same? Have we already done all we can? Have we already done all we can? Have we already done all we can? Well, all of our lives we've been told paradise resides in the heavens above. What would you do if you suddenly knew it was here with the people you love? It's right here with the people you love. What would you do? Say it's all up to you. Say the whole world's in your hands. Would there be change, or would things be the same? Have we already done all we can? Have we already done all we can? Have we already done all we can?
It's not a religious song, I don't think. It doesn't really belong to anybody. It's a song that's for everyone. It's called The Good Samaritan. Dreamed I was from Jerusalem, on my way to Jericho, when two thugs robbed and beat me up, left me lying by the road. A certain priest came down that road, and he just passed me by. Likewise came two other men, and they left me there to die. Well, I was just about to give up hope when the Samaritan came in sight. Well, he picked me up and he bound my wounds. Man, he really made my night. He put me on his beast of burden and he walked us into town. Checked us into a small hotel as the sun was going down. Now I love the Good Samaritan. He's a friend who's a friend indeed. I'll be more like the Good Samaritan when my neighbor is in need. We walked into that little room and I fell down on the bed. He took some wine and some oil he had, and he washed my wounded head. I wished I could have thanked him or repaid him for my keep, but before I got the chance, I fell fast asleep. And I love the Good Samaritan. He's a friend who's a friend indeed. I'll be more like the Good Samaritan when my neighbor is in need. About the time I fell asleep, I woke up from that dream. And awake I knew sometimes it's true, things aren't the way they seem. But the more I thought about that dream, the more I realized I see the face of that Samaritan in every person's eyes. And I love the Good Samaritan. He's a friend who's a friend indeed. I'll be more like the Good Samaritan when my neighbor is in need. Yes, I love the Good Samaritan. He's a friend who's a friend indeed. I'll be more like the Good Samaritan when my neighbor is in need.
Ukraine, I'm feeling so much shame, 'cause I don't know what to do. Ukraine, I see you every night. My TV blasts the news. Sitting where I'm comfortable while you're losing all you had. I'm trying to understand just how our whole world has gone mad. Ukraine. Ukraine, my heart goes out to you. I pray all day and night. Ukraine, I promise from my heart to help you shine your light. I can't believe what's happening before my very eyes. This world must pull together, so together we can rise. Ukraine. I am so mystified why war is better than peace. Ukraine, I send my song to you as I pray this war will cease. Ukraine. I can't believe what's happening before my very eyes. This world must go together, so together we can rise. Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine.
And this is a song called After the Battle, and I wrote it after reading the histories by Herodotus. Peaceful cacophony of early morning rouses me. Lying there, my consciousness drifting, floating, sighing. Morning dew so refreshing, as is the breeze caressing my skin. I smell the dead, the blood that spilled all around me. I hear the life that thrives. It tears through all our elaborate plans. Hear them mocking as petty our quarrels. Thought I'd sip from the cup of victory. Instead I lie here in this forest alive. Birds are circling overhead, their vibrant feathers gleam. Sun reflecting gold on steel, blinding, shining. Am I in some cathedral? To which God was it built? To whom should I pray? I smell the dead, the blood that spilled all around me. I hear the life that thrives. It tears through all our elaborate plans. Hear them mocking as petty our quarrels. Thought I'd sip from the cup of victory. Instead I lie here in this forest alive. I hear the life that thrives after the battle.
Yeah, I just wrote it a few days ago. for this day, for International Women's Day. And it's called We Are the One in Four. I wrote, it was kind of prompted by a statistic that I remember from college when I was in a social justice class, and a professor had said this statistic about sexual violence against women. And I just remember that from a long time ago. It might actually, the statistic might be 1 in 2 now. I'm not sure, but that's what prompted.
Feeling scorned as she says hello into the eyes of a judge and a jury of no one she knows. And she can't feel her feet on the floor. Somehow she finds her voice in the light of all that meet home. We are the one and four, we share our stories of strength and glory. We are the one and four, we'll stand up strong until our stories ignite. Ignite in a way that destroys all insecurities from a life bound by control. We don't want to fear anymore, to not have the right to our bodies, minds, and souls as our own. We are the one and four, we share our stories of strength and glory. We are the one and four, we'll stand up strong until our stories ignite. When we fall on deaf ears in the void, and you can buy the blue dress that she wore, is it a wonder why we wait so long? We are the one in four, we share our stories with strength and glory. We are the one in four, we'll stand up strong and tell our stories. We are the one in four, we share our stories of strength and glory. We are the one in four, we'll stand up strong and tell our stories. We are the one in four, we share our stories with strength and glory. We are the one in four, we'll stand up strong until our story ignites.
So this song I'm going to share tonight is one that I wrote after seeing a documentary about Peace Pilgrim, who was a woman who basically walked across the country multiple times beginning in the 1950s through until she passed away in the 1980s, and shared a message of peace. And this song talks a little bit about her journey. And I'll post in the chat a little bit later too where you can learn more about her and her journey and her teachings. So the song is called Peace Pilgrim. I was Mildred Norman Ryder, now I'm Peace Pilgrim. Walked for almost 30 years through rain, snow, and sun. My pockets nearly empty, no baggage to bear. My journey is a calling that with these words I share. My message is a simple one, it's easy to repeat. Let good conquer evil. I spread this round the world, I must find inner peace. You, me, we can live in harmony. As I look around me at neighbors' empty hands, I know I need to learn to give, not take all I can. I'm not the middle of the universe, I'm a tiny grain of sand, a note inside the symphony of all humans on this land. The greatest enemy I know lives inside my head, wears a coat of armor I'm learning to shed, measuring accomplishments by possessions, not by worth, forgiving everyone but me, robbing me of mirth. You, me, we can live in harmony. As I walk from coast to coast, relinquishing my roots, trust in love and kindness, to offer food and roof, my only destination upon this earthly plane is peace for every nation and every human being. You, me, we can live in harmony. You, me, we can live in harmony. I was Mildred Norman Ryder, now I'm Peace Pilgrim.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, we can.
Just before the light began to break, and I was not yet fully awake, I thought I heard a mighty choir sing, let freedom ring, let freedom ring. Listening to the first chirping of the birds, it seemed I too knew all the words. So I joined my little voice up to sing, let freedom
let freedom ring. We are a nation of immigrants of every shade and hue, and though we have not ever done our best, from now on that's what we will do. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. These words were spoken by Dr. Martin Luther King. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. We're a nation of immigrants of every shade and hue, and though we have not ever done our best, from now on that's what we will do. A lady in a harbor lives her life to guide weary souls through the night. And I know if she could, she would sing, let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. A lady in a harbor lives her light to guide weary souls through the night. And I know if she could, she would sing, let freedom ring. Let freedom ring.
Let freedom.
Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring.
I thought I'd do a song about that particular person. And I do it in Russian, but you'll all understand the song. Vladimir is sulking, he's looking pretty sad. His enemies are plotting from Minsk to Leningrad. Chechens making mischief, journalists enraged. A story torn from Kafka, how we love to turn the page. Now Vladimir is scheming, he's turning all the wheels. Oligarchs and businessmen all cutting Kremlin deals. They're ripping off the country and buying mega yachts. Babushka swilling vodka while the whole damn country rots. He's bringing back the gulags like Stalin's glory days, and disappearing dissidents in Lubyanka's mage, purging all the journalists and jailing girly bands. He's Kremlin's evil impresario. Vladimir is Putin on a show. Now Vladimir is swaggering like mafiosos do, sweeping through the Kremlin doors, a gangster through and through. No more perestroika, those wimpy days are lost. buried like his rivals in Siberian permafrost. Democracy so tiresome, such trouble to be free. Much better when whole games run by friendly KGB. And if you cross with Putin, he'll hunt you down with glee, purging you with pogroms and polonium in your tea. Now Vladimir is gloating. He knows he duped us all. He suckered us on Syria, and he's having such a ball. Whole damn world is watching now. Putin's got the stage. He's ravaging Crimea while his critics roar with rage. He's bringing back the gulags like Stalin's glory days, and disappearing dissidents in Lubyanka's maze, purging all the journalists and jailing girly bands. He's Kremlin's evil impresario. Oh, Vladimir is Putin on a show.
My song, and I'm glad Tara's here because she puts a great picture for it. It's called Take a Knee. And it's about the marchers for peace and for Black Lives Matter. Thousands of policemen armored for war against a few marchers for peace. And anyone can see how it's going to be a calamity. An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, leaves everybody blind and toothless to take a knee. Show empathy and humanity. Protect and serve, that is your trust. And to be respected, respect, you must take a knee. Show empathy and humanity. Take a knee, have the courage to agree that Black Lives Matter, that's the key. Take a knee, show empathy and humanity. There's a right to assemble and protest in peace in the home of the brave and the land of the free. Take a knee, show empathy and humanity. What does it profit a man if he wins the whole world and thereby he loses his eternal soul? Take a knee, show empathy and humanity.
Thank you so much, Nalini. That was wonderful. I'm so glad we have that recorded. A beautiful hour.
Yeah, that's going to be really a nice archive.
Yeah, thank you. Also, Nalini put together a Facebook page for us and a YouTube channel. Great work. I hope we can revive our.
We've been busy the last 10 days.
Yeah, we've been busy. I hope we can revive our Los Angeles branch of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. And
well,
please, all of you.
It doesn't cost too much to join, right? What is the membership?
No, I believe it's, what is it, 35,000, $35 a year.
35,000 pennies.
That's right. That's right.
Shilpa and Jan Corderman will talk about that a little bit later.
Very good.
And anyway, I personally go to music and art and poetry in dark times like these. I just am so shocked by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's so sad. And it's peace groups are so important because the sword is more powerful than the written word is so much more powerful than the sword. And music and art and poetry are the things that are going to defeat the Russians and those who are creating violence at this time. Also, I'd like to really thank all of the nonviolent resistance, all the peace marches, especially the brave people in Russia itself, for standing up, for being brave, for having so much heart and soul. It's really impressive. Anyway, I'd also like to thank Louise Katz Sullivan, who's been my partner doing things to keep the Los Angeles branch going. She's put together the newsletter for many years, kept the membership going. I think she's on the call. So thank you, Louise. We all appreciate it. I'd also like to thank the Social Uplift Foundation because the foundation has given some aid to the branch in terms of, like, for instance, helping to host this Zoom conference and being a fiscal sponsor when needed. And my husband, Ken, who's part of the Social Uplift Foundation with me. Ken, raise your hand. He's doing most of the technical stuff for this gathering. So moving on, I'll think of other people to thank as we move along. The first speaker we have is going to talk to us about International Women's Day itself, and that is Beata Pozniak. Beata is an award-winning voiceover artist, an actress. She's been in many films and television shows. She was Marina Oswald in the JFK movie by Oliver Stone, among many other roles she's played. She's an artist. She's a wonderful human rights activist, and she did a lot to have International Women's Day recognized in the United States. Beata received the Earphones Award for narrating Penguin Random House, Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, a Voice Arts Award, and many, many awards for wonderful narration, for poetry narration, and she's just very accomplished.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here tonight. Well, first of all, Grace, I want to thank you for inviting me yet again to celebrate International Women's Day. And because actually it's very important what you are doing. You are giving an opportunity to local artists and political leaders. You give them a voice, you give them an opportunity to be heard. So this is wonderful that I can be also part of this. And Nalini, who put together this beautiful entertainment. Nalini, you keep amazing me, because I know Nalini probably now 30 years, is it? And where many years ago, probably 30 years ago, I started producing International Women's Day, and without Nalini, I don't know where I would be, because she was so committed, so open-hearted, and changed so many people's lives around me that I've seen, and with her beautiful spirit. And I have to say, listening to all of you today, singing, performing, reading, I want to thank you for the bottom of my heart, because I grew up in, today it's Poland. So I grew up in Soviet-ruled Poland. So singing, poetry, art would keep us together in very difficult times. So listening to you all brought those times back, and it keeps us together. Art, performance will always heal us and keep us together no matter what, and keep us, we will manage through those tough times. So I want to just thank you all for sharing your voices. Happy International Women's Day. But it's very hard this year to say these words, considering what is happening in Ukraine, because my heart goes out to all the girls and women of Ukraine, and people of Ukraine showing immense courage and bravery that is inspiring the whole world. But this is the time that I would like to also mention. I am very proud to say I am Polish. I am very proud of my country, showing also some leadership in opening the borders, just welcoming Ukrainians to our country. And it's amazing to see regular just citizens, Polish citizens, just driving to the border in their own cars and opening, asking people to come, and they're opening their homes to anybody that needs help. Nobody ever seen anything like this. And just regular people, the buses, trucks, they just come in and they are packed with blankets, pillows, anything. Nobody's seen anything like this. The tremendous help that Polish people are giving is beyond anything that one can imagine. And so I'm very proud of that borders need to be open to those that need help. And seeing what is happening right now brings me back to some of my memories of being a young girl in Poland, growing up in the Soviet-ruled Poland during the communist times. And I came here before the Berlin Wall came down. And as an example, I just want to share that my mother, for example, was born in Vilnius. At that time, it was Poland. Then 2 years later, Russia, Soviet Union. Today, it is Lithuania. And the same from my father's side. And it is absolutely shocking to me that history is repeating itself. Well, I could go on with what's happening, but speaking of history, today is March 8th and International Women's Day. And the idea for International Women's Day actually was born at a conference in Copenhagen in 1910. So very close to Poland, we were influenced by what was happening in other countries. That's why I have really fond memories as a little girl growing up in Poland. But as an example, so women got together in 1910, and it was in Copenhagen, and representatives from 37 countries were at this conference, and they started to discuss issues that women were encountering. They were not allowed to, for example, join a union, get a college degree, or hold a library card, not to mention the right to vote. So the first country that women received the right to vote was New Zealand, 1893, Holland, 1917, Great Britain, 1918, America, 1920, Japan, 1945, but Switzerland, 1971. Really, it's recent. So in those times, women got together, and a feminist named Clara Zetkin at that conference, she was from Germany, came up with the idea of meeting every year in March, and they decided to call it International Women's Day. So symbolically, one day a year, all these women would get together and share the progress that women have made till then. So this day is symbolically really to raise international awareness of the connection between all women, and to bring attention to the cultural and social and economic diversity of their lives. And they wanted to make sure that every year this is the time to reflect on that progress, on the progress made, and to call for change, and also to celebrate acts of courage and determination by women who have played an extraordinary role in the history of women's rights. And we have to remind ourselves that women's rights are human rights. And now it is a day symbolically where we have an opportunity to share examples of historic achievements by women from different countries as they struggled together for equality and justice at all levels of society. So since I had these great memories growing up, when I moved here to America, I asked people, what do they do here? Because as a girl, it was about getting flowers and dressing up nicely, you know, and then with time, I just learned more about the history and the meaning of it. So I thought, wow, this is so much freedom in America. You know, it's like, what do women do here? And people looked at me thinking, you mean we have Women's History Month? So I noticed that not many people knew. Some people did, but not on the level that it is now. And when I came here in 1985, this is when I started to campaign and do something about maybe, I was thinking, what can one do to make it more official? So I started lobbying it, and I spoke to some local representatives here. I dedicated myself to making International Women's Day an official holiday in the US, and I was able to convince at the time Mayor Bradley, and then Governor Pete Wilson, and then Congresswoman Maxine Waters, who actually introduced the very first bill in the history of US Congress, International Women's Day. So the bill is House Joint Resolution 316, and I'm so proud to have worked with all these people, and even more proud because I got to work with both political parties and get their support, which is you know, I, as a Polish immigrant with barely, you know, when I came here, my English was so just poor. It was amazing, but I had so much passion, and I was managed to somehow convince that it is important to have this day on an official level. So I'm very proud that in 1994, this is the very first bill that got introduced in the history of US Congress. And from that time, the following year, 1995, this is the first time from that time the White House is celebrating International Women's Day.
Well, let me interrupt here and just say we are very proud of you too, Beata.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beata. It's wonderful. Every time I turn on the TV or the radio, print media all over the internet, International Women's Day is there on when International Women's Day is very inspiring. You did that. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. It's amazing that you know, I met with different nonprofit organizations from Equality Now to, I mean, you know, people were asking, what is it? So I was providing documentation, and it was a lot of just the work. But anyway, I could go on and on. I was just so excited about all this. But anyway, but I wanted to share one more thing. In this special time, I was just very moved again. I guess we all can't take our eyes off the TV sets and or any news right now. You know, my distant family also managed to get out of Ukraine and is now in Poland. My grandmother was born, now it's Ukraine. Grandparents, you know, the borders kept changing. So many Polish people still live there. So I was so moved today when I saw in the news, the Ukrainian soldiers were seen on the streets giving flowers to women. And
all right.
Unbelievable that,
right.
And this one soldier said, war or no war, our women need to be protected, loved and respected. I want to finish with that.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Now moving on, I just wanted to tell you that I hope that the speakers will all stay till the end, because we'll have a Q&A with all the speakers after all the talking is done by the speakers. Next are two people, Shilpa Panday and Jan Corderman. Shilpa is on the National Board of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and Jan is the U.S. National Secretary. So, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace. I want to start first by thanking you and Ken and Nalini and Louise. I'm one of, I think I was fortunate before the COVID hit to have attended one of the in-person luncheons that you used to organize. And past 2 years have been so challenging for all of us. And now I'm so glad that finally, even if it is a Zoom call, at least you took the initiative and to get everybody together. So I am so very glad that we are meeting everybody today. I have actually just a little bit about myself. So as Grace mentioned, I'm Shilpa Panday. I'm currently serving as the Membership Development Chair at in the U.S. National section. But what I really want to say is that when we talk about International Women's Day and listening to Beata and how she came from Poland, and the fact that Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, LA branch, has organized this, I want to emphasize on the word international, just because I happen to be an immigrant from India. And I will briefly share my my journey, because I actually grew up in India, and I became a member of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom in India. And I initiated a branch in the city that I grew up in. It was an all youth branch. The thing that inspired me to continue my journey with WILPF was the fact that I was able to connect with women who were like-minded women, as passionate as I was about women's rights and all the issues that connect us internationally. And fortunately, when I came to America, I was able to use the same platform that I had in India in WILPF US section. So I would really, really encourage everybody here today, if they have not already joined WILPF US, please do join us. I have shared the link in the chat, and I can share it again. So that is something that I wanted to share. A very interesting piece of history about WILPF, this organization that I do want to share today, is connected with one of the greatest apostles of peace, Mahatma Gandhi. I don't know if everybody is aware of this part of history or not, but Mahatma Gandhi, when he, this is before the Second World War, when a lot of the countries were being ruled by the British, they were under the colonial rule. He actually went around Europe to talk about, getting freedom for countries that were presently the colonies of Britain. And he wanted to address the folks, he wanted to talk to people, sort of mobilize them, and nobody really gave him that platform. Now, the interesting piece of history is that at that point in time, it was actually Women's International Peace and Freedom. Women from this organization, they actually organized a meeting for him where he could actually talk. And this is a brilliant, some historical fact that I often quote, just because I'm so proud of it, that historically we have been able to continue our journey towards peace and freedom from utilizing peaceful conflict resolution as our method, I should say, but for want of a better word. So that was briefly my own history in Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. And just to share with everybody what we are doing currently, I want to share that we have, when you become a member of WILPF in the US, you automatically become a member of WILPF International. So that links, so basically you become a member of your branch, but then you automatically become a member of WILPF US as well as WILPF International, which gives you connection with women all across the globe who share the same passion and the same vision as yourself. So it's a great platform to link with like-minded women all across the world. We do have about 6 or 7, I can't remember, I think about 6 issue committees, such as Women, Money and Democracy, Cuba and Bolivian Alliance, Advancing Human Rights, Middle East Peace and Justice, Earth and Democracy, Disarmament and End Wars. So what these issue committees do is they give an individual an opportunity to connect to those issues that they may feel a little bit more passionately about. So that's how you can take your activist work forward in those sort of channelizing. Excuse my language. Sometimes I get lost for the best of the words. But anyway, so that's one way you gain when you become a member. The other is, of course, we have a triennial Congress every 3 years. Last year we had a WILPF US Congress, which unfortunately was not in person because of COVID. And but the recordings are available, and they're available on the WILPF US website. I look forward that all of us that are attending the meeting today will be joining the organization and increasing our amazing WILPF family. So I will stay on for any question and answers. And I would like to see if Jen Corderman, who's actually our finance, who's our treasurer in national section, would she like to add something?
Sure, that sounds great. Shilpa. Am I on, or should I?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you, Grace, for putting on this wonderful day. It's very important for me and to be here, and the only event I know of for the day, so I really do appreciate that. Nalini, it was just a fabulous hour. So thank you, and thank everybody who performed. And Beata, thank you so much for helping this day come about. Really great to hear that history. So all things that I was not aware of. Well, just a little bit about me. I'm an Iowa farm girl. I grew up on a family farm, which is why I spend part of my WILF time fighting industrial ag. And that's a big business that produces greenhouse gas emissions, pollutes the air, pollutes the water, destroys wildlife, and really costs our environment a lot every year. Before coming to WILF, I spent my work life in the labor movement. I was an organizer with the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, which brings me to the Membership Development Committee to serve with Shilpa. And I like to apply my organizing principles that I learned in the union to try to help our branches build and bring new expertise and new ideas into WILF. And Grace, I'm so happy to hear that you folks are going to just, rage forward. That's really good news for us. I wanted to talk a little bit about the international level of our organization, because Shilpa has done such a good job of telling you about our national section. Right now at the international level, many members are part of shaping our future, shaping future WILF on the road to Congress. And we've all been invited, and we're still invited to help shape a future of feminist peace and freedom. And we can do that by helping shape WILF's strategic direction and get ready for that 33rd International Congress. And that Congress is being created now. It's a global strategy. It will help guide us, our continued evolution and impact as the world's longest standing women's peace organization. So please mark your calendar. This will be the first ever virtual International Congress, and it's going to take place July 16th through the 24th. And you can find out more at wilf.org, and then click on get involved, and then shaping future WILF. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat, and I'll also be around for the end for any questions or comments. Thank you.
So Jan, thank you so much. How much is an annual membership to WILF?
You had it right on the button, Grace. It's $35.
$35? Okay, great. And there'll be a donate button in the chat, I hope, so you can.
Yeah, there's a join button and a donate button, and everything is right there. And as Shilpa said, that $35, that's for your branch, the section, and the international. It's all three levels.
Great. And the membership dues go directly to national, to support national, which of course we want to support. If anyone wants to donate to the local branch, that's possible. Just contact me through Facebook or by emailing me. But otherwise, do please become a member of WILF. It's really important to keep nonviolent resistance and people who love peace organized, especially women. And we need that so much. Okay.
Grace, just quickly add to what you just said. When they join WILF via the website, our administrator tracks the area, and they're automatically assigned to the closest branch.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shilpa. All right. Now I'm going to go on to the next speaker, and I have a little who I know very, very well. And I'd have a little story about Anne. Anne is with a group called the Visual Artists Guild. And my husband has been involved with the Visual Artists Guild for many, many, many years. And Anne and the other members of the guild, but especially Anne's really been the heart and soul of that group. She has championed human rights, mainly in East Asia, China in particular, but other places in the world. And she's staunchly fought for the release of political prisoners, people who have been incarcerated for their journalism and for being whistleblowers. It's such an amazingly powerful thing. I want to tell you one little story. You'll indulge me. And that is many, many years ago, I sat at a Tiananmen commemoration that Anne put on, the Visual Artists Guild puts on once a year, and spoke at length with a Chinese scholar who was studying in the United States. And he told me that in China, there was an unknown epidemic of HIV. What happened in rural China, this is in rural China, there was a practice of harvesting plasma. It's a blood product. And they would take the, I guess, take the blood and put it in a kind of a basin or receptacle, and they would reinfuse people. So 4 people would donate, and then they would reinfuse them, I guess, with the red and white blood cells. And so that procedure was creating an exchange of blood with many people. And it created an epidemic of HIV early on in China, in rural China. It was really very shocking. So, of course, the Chinese officials tried to keep this quiet and hushed up. And this whistleblower brought it to Anne and my husband Ken, and he was later put in prison because of revealing this. Anne and my husband Ken helped her with this, but it was mainly Anne's initiative. They raised a holy stink about it, and he was released from prison. It became worldwide news, and the first George Bush actually donated $90 million to curtail the AIDS epidemic in China and possibly saving hundreds of thousands of lives. So, Anne, this is one of the many people you have helped free from prison, championed over the years through the Visual Artists Guild, causes that you've championed staunchly over and over and over again. Thank you so much. And now it's your turn to speak. Sorry, I'm stealing your speech from you, but everyone, I want to welcome Anne Lau, the chair of the Visual Artists Guild. You there, Anne? Uh-oh. Where's Anne?
She's gonna unmute herself.
Okay, unmute yourself, Anne.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here today to share with so many people, women and activists that are interested in this issue of human rights. I myself, actually, when you're talking about the HIV, it actually, the Chinese people actually have to, were selling the blood. They weren't donating the blood. They were selling it for $5. So as a result of selling the blood, they became HIV positive, and there were villages where they were, a lot of the children lost their parents. So anyway, I'd like to begin now with thanking Beata for introducing this day to the United States and giving us American women a day to celebrate our own voices. Visual Artists Guild is a nonprofit organization that champions the rights of freedom of speech and expression. It was established in 1985. The mission is to bring to world attention when such a right is threatened or suppressed. In 1989, a week after the Tiananmen massacre, Visual Artists Guild member Tom Van Sant, with the help of his fellow artists, built a 23-foot replica of the Goddess of Democracy statue. which was destroyed in Tiananmen Square. The replica was erected on a pedestrian bridge in Los Angeles downtown. You can see the replica here in my background picture. Since then, Visual Artists Guild has held commemoration events of the Tiananmen Massacre every year, and at the same time honor people who champion the rights of freedom of speech. We have since honored Chinese Nobel Prize winner, Peace Laureate Liu Xiaobo, who has since died in prison. We honored Hong Kong Journalists Association President Mak Ying-ting, Stanford anti-apartheid student Amy Bill, who was murdered in South Africa. We also honored Burmese student activists of the 1988 generation, Tsai Ya. We honored numerous Chinese human rights lawyers who have been imprisoned in China. We also honored Cuba's Ladies in White leader, Berta Sola. We honored Uyghur scholar Yi Hem Tohi, who has been sentenced to life in prison. Tibetan filmmaker Don Dup Wanchun, who was released after being imprisoned for 6 years. Chinese environmentalist Wu Lihong, who was released after being imprisoned for 4 years. Coronavirus whistleblower Li Wenliang in Wuhan, and many other deserving individuals throughout these years. We also brought out performance arts during the Pasadena Duda Parade to bring out the many human rights violations, as well as restrictions on religious freedoms. We have also hosted art exhibitions titled Art and Democracy around Southern California, as well as in New York. This year, because of the coronavirus, we are hosting the Tiananmen commemoration the 3rd year online. We will welcome everyone to join us. To end this, I'd like to bring attention to a young lawyer and citizen journalist, Shain, who went to Wuhan in early 2020 to report on the situation there and has been imprisoned since. She has said, if fear is the only thing left in her life, then all I can do is to compete with fear until I overcome fear. She has been in prison and they haven't allowed her to see her parents. So I hope that in 4 years that she is supposed to be sentenced, that they actually will allow her to be released. Thank you. And I again thank Grace for allowing me to join you. If fear is the only thing that is left in a life, then all I can do is to compete with fear until I overcome fear. This is a very touching statement, and it really affected me when I first read when she heard her saying that.
Thank you so much, Anne, for all of your work and for your sensitivity. You can see it. You're wearing the colors of Ukraine. Thank you. That's wonderful. All right. The next thing on this program is if anyone has any questions or would like to make some comments, our speakers are here and you're free to, I guess, raise your hand and we'll acknowledge you or we'll let you speak. Anyone have any questions for our speakers? Nalini, you have a question?
I don't, and we've heard so much. I'm so moved. It was such a beautiful program, and I wanted to make sure I thanked all the artists once again for putting on that great concert. And
Yeah,
all
wonderful.
the speakers were so inspiring, each one of them. We really appreciate you all being here. Thank you, Anne, for your brave work in bringing the most downtrodden of all, which are people stuck in prison. So you're a brave soul.
Yes, thank you so much, Anne. Sure, Ken, go ahead.
I wanted to ask Beata, what is your next project for the rest of this year? I know you're not just going to be going to the beach. What are you working on?
Okay, I do something called film poems, where I direct a poem either that I wrote or somebody else wrote. So this year, during the lockdown, I wrote a poem called Cremation of Time, and about the pandemic. And this poem was published in Kenya, Africa, in an anthology where all the poets from different parts of the world got together and bonded, expressed themselves about this pandemic. So the film got into 17 festivals, and so far I'm still waiting to hear back from more, but so far I won 8 Best Director awards for this particular film, Cremation of Time. And now I'm doing a similar project. It's going to premiere in Canada on April 23rd, during the anniversary of the Armenian genocide. It is a poem written, it's inspired by a poem written by an Armenian poet, Sonavan. It's called Bride of the Desert. And so I am actually directing and narrating this film poem, but it's going to serve as in addition, it's going to be actually, I've never seen anything like this, but that's so unique project, but it's going to be together play, our Ontario Philharmonic is going to play an original piece dedicated to the victims of genocide and war, composed by this amazing Armenian composer Vachesh Arafian, and I have been asked to direct and narrate this film poem that's going to be combined with the orchestra. So the orchestra is going to look at the images that I put together with my voice, and the music with the images are going to be one in terms of expressing how we as artists feel about the situation, and paying the tribute to all the victims, basically, of the genocide and war. And it's going to premiere on April 23rd. So that's what I'm working on now. And actually, it's interesting because Shilpa, my editor, is in India, and my sound editor is in Colombia. So we all work remotely, and it's been amazing in a way. This pandemic kind of forced us to work remotely, and with different countries. It's actually bonded us together because we missed interaction and just seeing each other. So it's in a way amazing. I never thought I could even have that or do that. And the time difference is something different, also another topic. So, but I'm very proud of this work. That it's I love this. If I can, I don't know how to say it, but if I can touch another person, touch their heart, I feel it makes a whole difference in the world. It's the biggest thing that one can experience. So I'm just thrilled that my work can be shared and people can resonate it. For example, here, what you see in the background, that's one of my art pieces.
Thank you. Yes.
I just have
Thank
one
you so much,
final-
Beata. Let me say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jerry Rubin is here. My old friend Jerry Rubin, terrific, lifelong peace activist. You've done so much, Jerry. Hello, thank you for being here.
I wanted to just thank you, Grace, and WILPF for doing this. I remember attending some of the luncheons years ago at Tay Restaurant.
Yes.
Hope that'll happen again in the future. And I also want to thank Nalini and Well, Josh, I think I've known both of you longer than my wife, Marissa. I think about 40 years now. In fact, Nalini, I just found this Beyond War pin. Do you remember that with the blue ribbon campaign for nuclear disarmament? I wanted to ask our guests, and I want to thank all the wonderful speakers. They are inspiring and you are touching people. And the same with the musicians. In fact, I'm going to have to learn how to sing if I'm going to be part of a musical program one of these days. But because I admire musicians so much, I wanted to ask, do people know during this special, horrible time when it's going to call on all of us to have more unity and courage than ever, that the wonderful sunflower is, of course, the national flower of Ukraine, but it's also a symbol for global nuclear disarmament. And I think if you check that out, you'll see that. And the irony and the beauty of that and the challenge there is really important for us activists to reignite the movement against nuclear madness while we also reignite our commitment against tyranny and violence and war. And I think we could do that on parallel tracks, as well as to work against the other global danger of climate change. So I really, really implore everyone to just never give up and keep inspiring people. And you have our gratitude. So thank you again.
Thank you, Jerry. You know, Jerry is one of the most creative activists ever. I mean, I remember years ago, this is an example of Jerry's creativity. In all the controversy about flag burning a gazillion years ago, Jerry actually froze the flag. It was so funny. He got a big, I don't know where you got that tub from. Anyway, he actually put a flag in some sort of tub of some sort and froze the flag, which just was so perfect because the whole controversy was so idiotic.
Well,
and,
it was because it was put in my freezer in a cookie tin overnight and then taken out to the West Los Angeles Federal Building, and there were about 8 TV crews. I talked about freezing the flag because we, in effect, would be freezing our constitutional rights to free expression. And then after I made my statement, I just dropped the frozen ice flag on the ground and it broke. So I took the flag out. I said, here it is. And we can proudly wave it. And it's all here. And unfortunately, one of the stations said, Ruben then violently threw the flag to the ground and shattered it. And so I spoke with the news editor and they corrected it and they kind of chastised that reporter for that unfair statement in their coverage. But I love all you guys. I'm proud to be an activist. Hearing about Maxine Waters doing this, I know Maxine for a long time. I had never known that she was the one back in the early 90s with your help to get her that this was the first resolution introduced. I didn't know that. I learned so much today. I'm so glad that I watched this and gave up watching the Lakers basketball game on TV today.
Wow, that is a sacrifice.
Thank you. By the way, everyone, currently the programs, we've had International Women's Day luncheons, as Jerry said, at Tex French Restaurant for years. And the videos of a number of those are on our socialuplift.org website. And we'll also share them, I guess, with our WILF YouTube channel. So, and we will also we've recorded this whole International Women's Day celebration, and that will be posted on YouTube and on our Facebook page. There'll be a link. And really, thank you so much for coming.
Can we all unmute and say goodbye then?
Yeah, no, well, just a second. Ken, do you have that Bread and Roses? I wanted to.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
As
Let
a
me
way
give
to
it a shot.
say goodbye, I'd like to say that Women's International League for Peace and Freedom began in 1915. It's been around for over 100 years. And just before that, there was a women's strike. Women were striking for equity and for shorter working hours, and they won. And around that era, women's suffrage won, and in the United States. And that was how Women's International League for Peace and Freedom was formed, out of those movements that worked to get rid of child labor, that worked to treat women equitably, to give women the vote. So the song in that era that was the most famous and that basically became the theme song of WILPF is Bread and Roses. And I want to play it for you. And Nalini, if you can put the lyrics in the chat, I would appreciate it. I emailed them to you earlier. Okay,
There it
goodbye,
comes.
everybody. See you soon, I hope, and I hope you all become members. You can play it now. It's a wonderful song.